match. Oh, he caught it! Oh, unbelievable! Back near the wall. It's out of here. Step back.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of The Sportsmen. We've got Joey D, we've got Mikey V, got the big ticket here, myself. Gentlemen, we're going to run a bit of a quick one here. Mikey's a very important man. He's got a quick ad at 9 o'clock, so we'll get him out of here then. How are you guys doing?
That's ridiculous. Good.
Just got thrown to the wolves.
I love you, Mikey. All right, boys. Let's just jump right into it. Let's run through our teams week 5, and then we'll just jump right into week 6. So let's start. You know what just happened last night? Joey D, why don't we start with your Packers? You were at the game. You know, tell us what you saw.
Was at the game. Amazing experience. That stadium is something else, man. I had an unbelievable time. The Green Bay Packers they're in rebuild mode, and they're not quite there yet. And, you know, that's okay, but Jordan Love has got to learn how to close out games. And I think the thing is he's just getting too anxious, and he's forcing plays too much. And you saw it multiple times, 3 interceptions, trying to force feed Christian Watson and trying to make things happen when they're not there. I think that's his inexperience. I think that's just him as a young quarterback. He's got to learn when to pick his spots and when not to. Defense, even though we're battered and we got a lot of injuries throughout the team, I thought the defense played solid, gave us a chance to win, made pivotal plays when we needed to. And you know what? We came up a little bit short, and that's going to happen this year. You know, it's going to be, you know, like I said it towards the beginning of the season, this is a team that can win 8 games, 9 games maybe, but they're going to have their losses, and they got to find ways to win and play a complete game. And, you know, last night they just came up a little bit short, and I think it's good experience for Jordan Love. I'm not upset. I like what I'm seeing out of them out of the gates, and I think that they're going to continue to improve. But Jordan Love's got to be patient. He's got to learn when to pick his spots and when not to. And that's what, you know, 3 interceptions that cost them the game.
Yeah, you guys ran into the buzzsaw that is Just Win Jimmy. That's all he does.
God, he was terrible last night.
Yeah, but he wins. He wins football games. You know who was great?
Terrible.
Was Max Crosby. I mean, he was the difference in that game. Mikey V, what'd you see?
Yeah, Crosby is a legitimate game wrecker at this point. He's got a never-ending motor. He never comes off the field. You know, his story is a really good one. You know, guy was an addict, and he turned it all around. He got sober, and like ever since, he's just an absolute wrecking ball. Problem with Crosby is his length. If you look at his arms, he's so long that he could just get separation from the offensive tackle, and it just becomes, with a motor like that, it becomes very, very difficult to keep a guy like that in check. His skill set, his hands, and his length just make him a nightmare. He makes every quarterback's life a nightmare. He's an after the whistle guy. He's constantly involved in plays after the whistle. And I wouldn't categorize him as a dirty player, but he definitely pushes the envelope to the brink of where you could push it. He's the type of guy you'd love to have on your team, period. Like I would love to have a guy like that on the Bears. Yeah, Jordan Love, I think they need to help Love out and give him some easier throws. His completion percentage is abysmal. I mean, it's abysmal. It's 54 or 53. That's terrible in the NFL. They got to give him some easier throws to make, underneath throws to make. It can't all be haymakers. Like Joe said, he tried to hit a lot of haymakers. And I get it, because Vegas is one of those defenses that you know, typically you could take advantage of in that regard. But, you know, I just think it was a weirdish kind of a game. It was kind of like whoever was going to make the most mistakes was going to lose the game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But, you know, it was a decent game in terms of the score. It was close. You know, it kept you interested the entire time. And I just think, you know, Packers fans kind of have to just accept the fact that, you know, you got to deal with non-Hall of Fame quarterback play for a little while. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's got to be shell shock to a lot of their fans, because you're so, and I don't mean to use the word spoiled in a derogatory term.
You're spoiled. No, we're spoiled.
Spoiled watching 2 of the best to ever do it back to back for decades and decades. I mean, and now you got a dose of what most of the NFL reality is, and that's trying to figure out who the next
what it
quarterback's
is?
going to be.
For so long, if we had the ball with like a minute and a half or 2 minutes or even a minute, we needed a field goal, it was an afterthought. But if we needed a touchdown, so many times you just anticipated that Rodgers was just going to take you
It was
down
like automatic.
and you're going to
win. It was
win.
almost automatic. It was sickening.
So it's like reprogramming your brain now to realize that's not normal to drive all the way down the field and score a touchdown to win the game to close it out. That doesn't happen that often. And I think the fans are like anticipating that it's still going to happen. And, you see what happens. I mean, Jordan Love, that last drive, I thought he played well. I thought we got down to a position where we could. That last throw was underthrown. He forced it. Interception, game over.
I think a lot of people are giving Jair Alexander a hard time today because he made some comments about how he said basically like, well, it's obvious like we can't allow touchdowns and, we have to score as a defense. And hearing him say that and the way it's getting pretzeled, and if anyone's used to getting pretzeled, it's me. I don't take that as a negative. And I'm not a Jair Alexander fan. In fact, I think he's a jackass. However, I think he's good. I think he's very good. I think he's a great player. And if anything he's ever said, last night was like the least like offensive thing. Like I would never try and flip what he said last night. Like anybody in an NFL defense will tell you the same thing. They don't want to allow touchdowns and they want to score as a defense. That's what any NFL defender should be saying. So I don't know where they whacked that out of context, but in terms of that and saying like there's turmoil, they tried to turn that into a spin piece today.
Ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Like anybody who's worth their salt on defense, who's a competitor, is going to tell you two things. We don't want to give up touchdowns and we want to score. We want to get takeaways and score off the takeaways.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, Joe, I agree with everything you guys both said about Jordan Love, especially Joe with the patience. But it looks like there's the groundwork for a good quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
There. There's something, I watch him and he's making some mistakes. And as Mikey said, man, they got to design some easier throws for him. They couldn't get Dubs involved really at all yesterday. But you've got something there. I think there's something to look forward to.
I agree. It's not abysmal by any means. You look around the league at other young quarterbacks.
No, they're a competitive team.
I think in a couple of years, Jordan Love is going to be a very solid quarterback and a starter. I think he's just got to learn some, patience. He's got to learn managing the game better. And those things come with time.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let's move on to, we started at the Monday night game. We'll go all the way back to the Thursday night game where Mikey V, your team, they finally did it, man. And they didn't just do it. They dominated. They really had that game by the balls the whole time in DC. They went on the road and they fucking slaughtered. Walk me through it.
I was pleasantly surprised. Tevin Jenkins, Bears offensive guard, who's their highest graded offensive lineman from last year, came back for his first game. And it was obvious the difference that this guy made. I mean, their rookie tackle, Darnell Wright from Tennessee, has been grading out extremely high. He was the 8th graded he's the 8th graded pass rushing tackle in the entire pass blocking tackle in the entire league right now. He's ranked 8th amongst all tackles. So Poles hit a home run with Darnell Wright. If Jenkins is in there, Jenkins is the nasty guy up front who is the run dominator and the guy who sets the tone for that whole offensive line. And you saw Justin Fields have pockets like he hasn't had in a long time. And if he has pockets and he has time, he's a completely different quarterback. And they finally threw the ball to DJ Moore. And DJ Moore, just proved over that he is a true NFL wide receiver one by any standard. As monstrous as a game of a game that who had 3 touchdowns on Sunday? Somebody had a big time.
George Kittle.
Oh, no. Kittle. But Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase had 15 catches.
192 yards.
And DJ Moore had almost half those catches, more yards, same amount of touchdowns. So that just speaks volumes to me of how talented DJ Moore is. The defense, Bears defense, is what it is. Like the Washington O-line is so abysmal that they're giving up sacks to a team that doesn't get sacks in the Bears. So the Bears defense, I still have no confidence in really because Washington, that O-line is just so bad. But offensively, obviously, I was very pleased. Now every one of the running backs is now hurt, so that's going to be a problem. But Fields the last 2 weeks has been a different looking player. Moving forward, I think the Bears are in the catbird seat, however it goes, because Carolina is still terrible. They still have the number 1 and number 2 overall draft picks. So, I mean, if Fields continues on the pace he's at and he's going to throw 4 touchdowns every game for the rest of the year, or 3 touchdowns or something even remotely close to that, and he stops turning the ball over, they win a few more games, then you have a lot of flexibility about what you could do with those picks towards the end. It was good to get a win. Finally, haven't had a win in a year, literally almost a year. So
you guys should have 2 wins.
It was good. Should have 2. The Denver game was a collapse. And again, back-to-back great weeks for Fields. Now they get a Minnesota team this week without Justin Jefferson at home. So
unbelievable, man.
This is a decent opportunity for them. They have a stretch of games now. Vikings, the Raiders. So, I mean, they have some winnable games coming up. So we'll see how they look moving
Raiders
forward.
Is Raiders at
It's
Chicago?
in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, Raiders on the road are pretty terrible, man. They're a different team.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I thought Justin Fields looked great. I mean, Mikey, you must have been pinching yourself halfway through the game because the Commanders are actually they're a pretty solid defensive team. Like they don't.
Yeah, I keep talking myself out of saying things like that now because I agreed with you, Joe, before the game, and then I look at the numbers and like their defense really hasn't lived up to the hype I feel like that they have. But everyone knows how good their D line is, so I feel like
no
people
one
really
thought that they were going to give up that many points to the Bears. I mean,
no, definitely
they played
not.
the
Definitely
Eagles.
Not.
They played the Eagles tight up until the very end. Like
they did.
So I think that. The Bears the last 2 weeks have shown a lot of promise. They've shown a lot. Like they should be 2-0 in the last 2 weeks, and they should be tied with the Packers. And ahead of the Vikings. So all I'm saying is, I think there's some promise, but Justin Fields, I think he's starting to step up to the plate a little bit, and that's nice to see because early on he looked terrible, and then he makes comments about the coaching, and that's going down a route you don't want to go. So for him to kind of get back on his horse and start, putting his money where his mouth is, that's really, really
integral. I mean,
for
him and Josh Allen lead the league in touchdowns. So I mean, it's pretty remarkable considering the turnaround he's had the last 2 games. But again, we'll see if he could sustain it because we've seen games where it's splash production from this offense and then it just goes away. So Chase Claypool being deactivated and then traded over the last 2 weeks, not involved. They've looked a lot better without him. So I don't know. Maybe he was a hindrance to this offense. He might have been. We'll see what he does in Miami. But so far, so good these last couple of weeks. We'll see.
Yeah, he certainly wasn't a locker room guy. I think we can all agree on that.
No.
All right, and then we'll move on to the Eagles before we move on to Week 6. I don't know what you guys want me to say.
Win's a win, baby.
This game highlighted exactly, in my opinion, what I was trying to say.
What was the final score
last week? 23-14.
So they covered.
They did, yeah.
You can't complain about that.
Mikey, so I took a beating in the count. I have been taking a beating since I've been ragging on my Eagles. I've been Philadelphia fans disowning me. People saying I'm a Texans fan. How could you possibly be upset? When I talk about the Eagles, I don't talk about them the same way I talk about the Chicago Bears or the Texans. When I have nice things to say about the Chicago Bears, I'm talking about them based on versus the expectation I had for them in the season.
Right.
Eagles are on a whole nother stratosphere. I'm judging them based on being a Super Bowl contender, someone who can win it all. And all I'm saying is these Eagles, if you watch the game, if you watch every down of this game, something ain't right. Something ain't right. And in the game, you saw Jason Kelsey came off after their second delay of game and was screaming at Nick Sirianni. He looked like the fucking coach at that point. And he was basically he was screaming at him for a good 2 minutes. They did not take the camera off him. And he was basically voicing all of his frustrations because it's been building and building and building. The Eagles are a good team. That's how they keep making all these mistakes and still winning football games, close football games. Even this Rams game, we won 23-14. This was a 17-14 ball game going into the fourth quarter. This was not a runaway train. We never had this game in hand. and we're just making sloppy mistakes. I mean, we're making bad penalties. It's a coaching problem. And Jalen Hurts, I love him. I love him dearly. I think he'll figure it out. But if you look at what he's been doing, we're not talking about the same guy that he was last year. He's just not. And if you want to say that he is, you're just not watching the football games. And, just go fuck yourself for all those people saying Jalen Hurts is the same guy. No, they can go fuck themselves. They absolutely can. Because I'm watching every down of these games, man. And right now, Super Bowl tomorrow, I can count 6 to 7 teams that would beat us right now. Because if anyone's going to be impressed by getting in a dogfight with the Commanders, who the Bears had no wins, they just fucking routed them. Got in a dogfight with them, won in overtime. Buccaneers played us tough the whole game. Dogfight with the Vikings. We're the only team in the league who have made the Patriots look like a competitive football team. We're the only team in the league. And then we go and play the Rams. And again, I mean, they're a battered and bruised team. Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford didn't have their they didn't look synced back up yet. It's going to take them some time. So we weren't even getting sliced and diced by him. We're just struggling right now. We're a good team. That's why we're pulling out wins. We're a very good team. I feel very lucky and blessed to have them. I'm glad that I'm not a Houston Texans fan. Yes. But looking at it, to win a Super Bowl, we've got a lot to fix. We've got a lot to fix. I just don't see how you can slice it any other way.
I think you're looking at it wrong, man. If you look at the league, okay, let me just say what I have to say.
He's going to have a fucking meltdown.
It's in any given Sunday. Look at the AFC East, okay? The Bills beat the Dolphins, all right? Mm-hmm. The Dolphins
beat
the
Dolphins.
Okay? The Jets beat the Bills. The Patriots beat the Jets. And the Dolphins beat the Patriots. So, like, it's an any given Sunday.
Really? If we play the Dolphins tomorrow, you taking us to win?
Yes.
Wow, you're going to take us to beat the Dolphins tomorrow?
Probably.
Wow.
The Dolphins have no defense at all.
Our offense isn't moving at some high clip right now.
I don't disagree with that either.
DeAndre Swift is the only good thing. I mean, I shouldn't say that. AJ Brown. They're all great, but Jalen Hurts is having a tough time getting them the ball. DeAndre Swift is the only he's been a welcome piece to our team, man. He's been fantastic. And we're running the ball with Jalen Hurts on the goal. It worked last year. Teams are on to it. He's getting smashed at the line of scrimmage. Unless we do the tush push, he ain't finding any room to move.
The tush push is unstoppable.
The brotherly shove. We've got the best offensive line in football. That's why. I mean, they're unbelievable.
You're 5 weeks in, and you're 5-0. And you know what? The season is young. You're going to start catching a groove. And yes, I agree. There's been some sloppy play.
Yeah, I guarantee you'd be a little worried too if you were the Packers and you still had Aaron and you were getting into these dogfights with losing record teams. I guarantee you
who wouldn't be
worried. It's a little bit concerned. I think they'll figure it out. Let me say that too. I don't want someone. They will figure it out, Mikey V.
I tell you what, I wouldn't be worried because we never.
There's no need to worry, Tick.
I'm not worried. I'm just saying if it doesn't get fixed, it's gonna be a problem. If we stay the same team and we don't try to evolve and the coaching doesn't figure it the fuck out, I'm fed up with Nick Sirianni. This guy's a joke. We have the Jets, so another wash. We're not going to learn anything again this week. Pretty easy opening schedule.
Yeah,
first 6 games.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but you're winning the games, so you can't be upset.
I am not. I feel like people aren't understanding. I'm not upset.
I know what you're saying. I know.
I'm saying
sounds like you're upset.
That there's a lot to fix. There's a lot to fix.
I wouldn't take that away from you. I'm sure there's areas that need improvement, and I'm sure there's areas that are not, seal tight and not ideal. But the bottom line is it's a long season. You guys are undefeated. You're finding ways to win games that are not easy. And by the way, there's a target on your guys' back. You were in the Super Bowl. Every team is going to play their hardest game when they see you come into town. So it's not like they're playing, the Commanders. When they come to play the Bears, they think it's going to be a cakewalk. They're not taking them seriously. They come into Philadelphia in a rivalry game. They're playing their hearts out. So all I'm saying is I agree with what you're saying. In certain areas, it's sloppy, and there's areas. And by the way, I think right now, as it stands, that the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. And if they played them this week, I don't think the Eagles would beat them. So I agree with what you're saying, that you need to continue to push forward. But the thing that you should rest on is that you're undefeated, you're finding ways to win, and it's a long season. So hopefully those areas are going to start getting addressed.
If you're telling me you travel, first of all, you're traveling East Coast to West Coast, cross country travel, literally, which is one of the hardest things to do in the NFL. And you covered the spread with relative ease. I mean, good teams win, great teams cover. Tick. I mean, that's the old adage.
We played a washed up quarterback, didn't we?
There's no question that he's washed up. There's no question that he's washed up. There's no question about that. I mean, Matthew Stafford, listen, and he still throw the ball a little bit. Yeah, he could. He's got Nakua, he's got Puka, and he's got Cup, and he loves those guys, and he'll still make the throws because he's going to throw 50 times a game. So he's going to get his, but he's washed. Yeah, he's washed.
That's hilarious that you're still calling him washed.
He's washed, brother. He's washed.
You know who is washed is Russell Wilson.
Oh yeah, washed.
And that leads us into week 6. Let's get into week 6, boys. It's going to kick off a Thursday night game. The Broncos are going to Kansas City. Kansas City is a 10.5-point favorite. Mikey, who do you like in that one?
Kelsey's a little dinged up with the ankle, but it looks like he's going to play. Mahomes, this Chiefs team is very, very much like the Eagles. They just win. It ain't pretty. They've had close calls. They've had games where Mahomes hasn't looked, as good as his, opposing quarterback a couple times. But that being said, they have a difficult time covering big spreads. They usually do historically. The Chiefs never cover, I feel like, but this is a team ripe for the fucking in Denver. They just are. They're a total mess. Going into Arrowhead, short week. I'll take the Chiefs with the points. I know it's a lot of points. It is it's not something that I would advise on or bet myself, but we do on the show, we pick everything. So yeah, I would take the Chiefs with the points. Broncos are a train wreck. And Sean Payton looks like a fucking goat right now. He does, and not in a good way, a bad way. Because he's running his mouth before the season started about Hackett, and Hackett comes in there and beats him with fucking Zach Wilson. That's just that's just Sean Payton. He just looks like an asshole right now.
Sure does. Yep. Joe?
The Broncos are the worst team in football. That team is a disaster. Right. Russell Wilson might as well have gone down to Wall Street and robbed a bank, because this guy, for what he got paid, he absolutely bent that franchise over and gave him the old heave-ho.
Nobody likes him either. That's the thing that really is crazy.
A disaster, man.
Marshawn Lynch, did you hear what he said? He goes, I didn't even have Russell Wilson's number.
Yeah.
How insane is that? How insane? That's insane to me. That's insane. Bro. That would be like me saying, I don't have Joe's phone number. I don't have your phone number. You've worked with the guy for multiple years and you don't have his phone number. It's bizarre. He must be a total. Russell Wilson has to be a total scumbag. He has to be. There's no other explanation. None.
I'm going to go with Chiefs as well.
Yeah. I mean, I said that the Broncos would be the worst in football, and I'll stand.
You really did.
Yeah, I didn't think they would more
that's
than
a bold take
games.
too, Tick. That was a great take.
Yeah,
it really was.
But the thing is, the Chiefs never cover. They never cover. But I do think they'll cover this one. The Broncos are just ass.
Here's the thing: if the Broncos cover and you take the Chiefs, you look like you still made the right pick. If you take the Broncos and the Chiefs beat them by 21, you look like an absolute doorknob.
Fucking idiot. Yeah, exactly, Phil. That's why I'm taking the Chiefs. All right, let's move on here. The Eagles are going to MetLife. They're playing the Jets. Eagles are a 7-point favorite. Joey D?
I am going to take the Jets to cover.
So am I.
I think go ahead, Mikey.
No, I was going to say probably the same thing you were, Joe. I think the Eagles win the game. I just think it's too many points. The way the Eagles have played games so far this year, it's been close games. It hasn't been blowouts. Now, maybe this will be the week that they fucking score 35 and hold the Jets to 10 or 14, which wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. It would not. But that being said, a home dog getting 7 points in the NFL that has a defense like the Jets do. I think the Jets, maybe they ride a little momentum, and I think the Eagles win a field goal game, something like that. Maybe 4 points, but 7's a lot of wood. That's a lot of wood to lay.
the Jets are playing pretty solid football the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They played the Chiefs very hard.
Sure did.
And then I took them. They were +1.5 last week. That should have been my game of the week. It was never even close. I took them, and it was like,
no, it was close in the first half. It was close, Joe. I mean, Broncos led the first half most of the time, right?
Yeah.
They were ahead at halftime.
But I'm saying, I just think the Jets are on the upswing. The defense is solid. And listen, Zach Wilson's making plays. He doesn't look unbelievable. He's making some plays. And Breece Hall is awesome.
He's unbelievable.
He's awesome.
He's a stud.
Now
that's
going to be a problem, though, because you're not going to run the ball against Philly. That ain't going to happen. I mean, you're not going to run the ball against that front. Why you ticket? Please don't shake your head.
I didn't shake my head.
You slightly shake your head.
I didn't. I honestly
You've got the best defensive tackle tandem, arguably
I didn't
in the
shake
league.
my head. I'm not arguing.
Jalen Carter is a fucking animal.
I'm not I didn't shake my fucking head.
I saw a shake.
Maybe it was a tilt.
It was a tilt. It was a ticket tilt.
It had nothing to do with you. It had nothing to do with you, you selfish bastard.
Oh.
Had nothing to do with you. Had nothing to do. I'm going to take the Eagles as a faith play.
Wow.
Faith play. Everyone's telling me to relax. Everyone's telling me that the Eagles are still great. They're playing yet another shitty team. They've all been dogfights. Maybe this is the year that
the Jets are shitty, but they're not like you can't just go in and think you're going to annihilate the Jets only because of that defense.
Their defense is
although
solid.
Dallas fucking annihilated them, this is why the NFL is just so insane. It just makes no sense week to week.
It's true.
It just doesn't. It's
true. Fuck it. Everyone's telling me to relax on the Eagles. You're right. 7 points is a lot of wood, but we should fucking destroy them. We should.
I agree.
And I'm going to bet on them to do that. Maybe this is the week, and I can come back and sing the praises.
Yep.
All right, boys, let's move on here. Let's move on to Ravens-Titans. Ravens are a 4-point favorite. They're in Tennessee. Mikey B?
Interesting game, man. Interesting game. I'm going to take the Ravens, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to take much stock in what happened against the Steelers because the Steelers have Lamar Jackson's number. The Steelers have the Ravens' number. For whatever reason it is, they just do. If the Ravens cut those drops down in half, they win that game last week going away. I don't suspect that'll happen again this week. I think it'll be, a big week, a good week of practice. I think Harbaugh will be all over these guys. And I don't think they'll make those same mistakes this time. So I'll take the Ravens. I'm high on the Ravens this year, as everybody knows. I've been saying that. And I'm just going to dismiss last week as to just Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, and this is what they do to Baltimore. It's just what they do. So give me Pitt.
You want me Ravens.
Ravens. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Give me the Ravens.
So what is it? It's -4. They're 4-point favorites.
4-point favorites in Tennessee.
It's going to be my game of the week.
What?
I don't even need to hear any other games. I'm telling you this right now. I took the Titans this last week against the Colts. This defense is in absolute shambles. Gardner Minshew looked like Joe Montana out there shredding this defense up. They couldn't stop. Zach Moss looked like Marshall Faulk.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop a nosebleed, dude. Every time they had to make a stop. Do you know that the last drive of the game, the Colts had an 8-minute drive when the Titans needed to come back and win? They are in shambles. Tannehill looks terrible. This team is fraudulent. The Ravens, they killed themselves last week. They had that game won. They had that game covered, and Lamar should never have thrown that ball. That was a mistake. They should not. They banged themselves. The Ravens are going to blow the doors off of the Titans, as far as I'm concerned. They're a much, much better team. In my humble opinion, I'm going to take the Ravens. The -4, I think
game
that's
of the week
going
for
to
Joseph.
I think
game
it's
of the
week
week for Joseph. Put a star next to that one. I agree with everything Joe said. I'm going to take the Ravens. It feels like a bit of a trap to me, just a slight trap, but I'm going to take.
It's still 4.
I'm going to take the. Yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens. I don't love the Ravens, but man, I was on that bet with Joseph last week, and I got absolutely fucking banged. So fuck them. Give me the Ravens. All right, moving on here. Let's go to Vikings Bears, huh? Let's go to Vikings are a 2.5-point favorite in Chicago. Mikey,
what's the line right now?
Yeah,
I got 2.5.
Minnesota favored, obviously.
Yeah.
I think this game is a pick 'em. Honestly, I think it should be closer to a pick 'em. Without Justin Jefferson, that makes the world of difference. He's a bear killer. He's killed them for the last couple of years now. Him out of the lineup is huge. The game being in Chicago is better for the Bears, obviously. Bears always seem to have Cousins' number in the past, maybe not in the recent past, but before that, they always had good success against him, even when the Vikings had better teams than they had now. So I'm going to take the Bears. They hooked me back in. I'm going to take the Bears. So basically, I think the Bears are going to win the game. I don't see them losing by a point or two. So I'll take the Bears plus the 2.5 points. Fuck it.
Joseph?
I think the Bears are going to win this game. I thought the Bears last week. I took the Bears plus 5.5. And the week before that, I took the Bears. The Bears look good the last 2 weeks. No Justin Jefferson. Minnesota's in disarray, man. They barely beat the Broncos. Barely. They're not a good team. And you know what? I think that getting 2.5 without their best player on the road against a division rival who's going to play tough. I agree with you, Mikey. This should be like a pick 'em or a 1-point spread at most. I think the Bears win this. I would definitely take them with the points.
Yeah, this is going to be my game of the week. I love the Bears here. I love the Bears all season long. And it's taken them. Maybe it took them a little longer than I thought. Maybe it took a little bit longer than I thought to get there. Mikey doesn't like that I took him.
Mikey,
no. Tick has been so on the Bears all year. It's you know, as
the last couple of weeks it looks good.
I know, but this is like such a week where they would come out and just lay an egg.
Lay an egg. I know. I'm thinking that too, for sure.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's just such their MO. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I really do. Because at this point, honestly, if we only had our pick, I would be like, you know what? I really honestly, I don't think this is going to work. Fuck it. Just tank it. But now that Carolina, I can't see Carolina winning another fucking game. Maybe they win 1 or 2. We're going to get the number 1 pick. Or we're going to be damn near close. So fuck it. Win some football games. Make it exciting. Yeah. Let's do something here. So Tick, I'm with you, man. I'm trying to get back on board. It's obviously difficult. It was a traumatic start to the season for me again. So I'm turning it around slightly. I'm slightly getting
You
back.
Looked happy. Thursday
night
was the happiest I've seen
I'm gonna
tell you. You look very happy.
I first of all, I had like 3 of my best friends over the house. We're watching the TV on the new patio outside. I'm watching outdoor television. We're drinking beers. Like, it was just a very happy, conducive environment.
You looked very happy. I was very happy.
The fact that the Bears were lighting them up made it, obviously, it was fun. You know, it was fun to watch them score points. I never see my team score like that. Ever. Yeah. That was fun.
So I like the Bears in that game. It is an opportunity for them to lay an egg. It happens a lot in the NFL, especially to teams like the Bears. But they're also playing Kirk Cousins, and that guy loves to find ways to lose football games. So I think that's another thing they got going for him. And it's in Chicago. All right, let's move on. We got Seahawks going to Cincinnati, playing the Bengals. Bengals are a 3-point favorite. They look like they've finally found something. All right, Joey D, who you like in that game?
Oh, man. I mean, this is kind of tough. I'm still not all in on the Bengals. They played Arizona. Arizona's they're a scrappy team, but they're not by any means like a good team. I would take Seahawks with the points here. I know they're going across, traveling across the country. That's never easy, but they just had a bye week. They're well rested. Joe Burrow's still not 100%, but I don't know. I like Seattle here. I think that they can run the ball. I think they're going to get some opportunity to score, and 3 points is a lot. I think that's a decent play.
What's the total on that game, Tick? Over under
45.5.
Yeah, I like the over. But not my game of the week. But I do like I think there's going to be points scored in this game. I think this is where Cincy, like last year, maybe gets on a little bit of a roll. Burrow, obviously his best game of the year last year, albeit against the Cardinals. Seattle, yeah, Joe, like you said, 2 weeks to get right. Coming off the win against the Giants on the Monday night game. Ken Walker should be full go, and I'm sure he's going to get pounded against this Cincinnati defense. I mean, What is it? 3.5 or 3?
It's 3.
Yeah, give me the Bengals with the 3. I think worst case scenario there's maybe a push. I could see. Listen, would I be shocked if Burrow looks bad again? No, and then I'd say, you know what, there's really, really something to be concerned about here. But if not, and it's going the other direction, I think Cincy should cover that 3 with ease. If Burrow's going to continue, if this was the beginning of Joe Burrow getting back on track, then the Bengals should win this football game. They should. Will they? Is he back on track, or was it the Cardinals effect? I don't know. Time will tell.
Do you think Geno Smith is a fraud?
Do
you think the Seahawks? Do you think they're fraudulent?
I don't think they're fraudulent. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the Seahawks as like a NFC contender? If that's the case, yes, they're fraudulent. If you're talking about the Seahawks as a wild card team, I wouldn't say they're fraudulent. They have a ton of talent. They have
one of the best rookie players in the league.
Yeah, they sure do.
Between Lockett and Smith and Jigba and DK Metcalf and Walker. And Pete Carroll's a great coach. And no, I wouldn't say as a wild card team, I think they're legit. As anything else than that, no.
Okay. I like them to win this game. I'm going to take the 3 points.
The Seahawks?
The Seahawks, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take them. I was so down on Geno for such a long time. And do I think he's great by any means? No,
he's not.
But it's starting to look like he could manage a team. He could be a game manager. He can make
game
big throws.
Yep.
Especially when you put those kinds of pieces around him. I'm going to bet that Joe Burrow is not right quite yet. I think he will get there, but I don't think he will be. Give me the Seahawks, 3 points.
The thing about Geno is like when it looks like when his back gets put up against the wall and he gets pissed off, he plays.
That's when he plays best.
He plays really well when he gets pissed off. So like if I was an opposing team, I would send him like flowers and chocolate or something like that, and just put him in the best mood possible because I think he'll stink. Like, don't give him any bulletin board material. He loves that shit, and he thrives off that. So I would keep it as friendly as possible for Geno Smith.
Yeah, it's almost a given. Whenever they come off a win that they probably shouldn't have won, the next week he lays a big fat fucking egg.
Now, luckily for them, the Giants, you can't even say that they don't deserve to beat the Giants. The Giants are so bad. Yeah, and they had the bye week, so we'll see.
That's right. All right, moving on here. We're going to take the 49ers going to the Browns. San Francisco is a 5.5-point favorite in Cleveland. Joey D, how are you liking that one?
My God, man. It's tough because the Niners are by far the best team in football. But here's the thing is that everybody is going to keep betting on the Niners every single week to cover. And one of these weeks, they're going to have a slip up and they're not going to play well. Now, I thought last week against the Cowboys was a week. But what I should have realized is that Dak Prescott is so abominably bad. And if we do our Who's a Problem segment, I'm going to go right out and say it. He's an absolute problem. He's a liability. And I will not take the Cowboys to cover another spread in a big game for the rest of the year. That being said, the Browns defense is solid. Is Deshaun Watson back?
I'm looking that up right now. I think he's supposed to be back.
I believe he is, yes.
If Deshaun Watson is back, I could see this being a somewhat of a tight game because the Browns are going to be playing tough. But 5.5, this is just such a tough – this is a game I would stay well away of if I had to pick a game. But because we have to pick it, I'll take the Niners this week. But I would not be surprised if the Browns come out and cover because I think that Vegas is eventually going to win a big game against the Niners. And everybody who's betting on them week in, week out to cover, they're going to slip up soon. It could be this week. But for now, I'll take the Niners to cover.
I'm going to say this. I think the line is a fishy line. I think it's a fishy line. After San Francisco just did what they did to Dallas, and after what San Francisco has looked like this entire year, the efficiency of Brock Purdy, the dominance of Christian McCaffrey, the dominance and the way that defense flies to the
football. Now Kittle.
It makes this spread should be a touchdown spread, in my opinion. It's a fishy line. Usually that tells you go with the Browns. Fuck that. I'm taking San Francisco with a bullet, and you can make this my game of the week. Give me the Niners. Minus the 5.5 is my game of the week. And if I'm wrong, serves me right, and the Niners fucked up the week I pick them to be my game of the week.
Mikey,
I have seen nothing.
Wrong.
They should feast on Deshaun Watson. The way he's looked the last time he took the field the bizarre personal foul penalties he's getting called on. You don't think that guys like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead are going to get in this guy's head and fuck with him greatly? The Niners defense, to me, forget about the offense and how good the offense looks. Their defense is flying to the football at an alarming rate. Fred Warner, watching him play, is one of the most pleasurable things you could do as an NFL fan right now. Sit back and watch the way Fred Warner plays inside linebacker. And it is literally, it's like watching one of the best to ever do it right now. That's the type of level that kid's playing at. And Greenlaw, the kid who plays inside linebacker next to him, he hits like a fucking Mack truck. It is so fun to watch them. It's unbelievable. I wish I was a Niners fan sometimes. I really do, because they are a ton of fun. They are.
Brock Purdy looks so good, man.
So good. And the moment is not big for him. And if you got CMC healthy in that backfield, that guy is an alien. He's an alien. And the Panthers really, I mean, Jesus Christ. They get rid of this guy. They get rid of DJ Moore. I mean, they just sunk that entire ship, and they look like that's not going to get righted now for quite some time.
Haven't had a decent coach quite some time either, man. They just churn and burn. And
I like Frank Reich. I'm a Frank Reich guy. I like Frank Reich a lot.
Me too. I like him a lot as well. Jury's still out on if he's a head coach, but he certainly is one hell of a coach. Offensive coordinator, quarterbacks. I mean, he's the real deal, man. I'll take the 49ers. I'm not going to overthink it. It is weird, Mikey. You are right. This should be a touchdown. That is fucking
that scares you. That's the only thing that scares me, but it is what it
49ers, is. Man. That's all there is to it. Speaking of the Panthers, let's head there. Panthers are playing the Dolphins in Miami. Miami's a 13.5 point favorite.
I mean, listen,
Mikey.
You talk about a ton of wood, man. A 2-touchdown favorite in the NFL. I mean, that's borderline unheard of, but that's what happened. The only scenario you get that is when you have a top tier team matched against the consensus worst team in the league. In Miami, I don't know if that really is a huge thing for Carolina, playing in warmer weather. A chain goes down now. Unfortunately for me, my prized possession back is going to be out for a couple of weeks at least with a knee, unfortunately. But that team is a track star team. They just score on everybody. I think the Panthers will score because I think Miami's defense is just hard. So I think the Panthers will score. So I would be interested in looking at the total in this game. But if the line is 13.5, you should be looking at the over. Give me Miami, but you know what? I would really like to take the over in that game. But Miami
48.5.
Oh my God, sky over. Miami may score 42 points themselves. And they're not going to shut anybody out, not with that defense.
I threw in a parlay the Panthers +9 against the Lions. I thought it was a lot of points. It was 9 or 9.5.
9.5. Yeah.
And it was never even close. I mean, the Lions defense might as well have been like the Bears back in the 80s. Like they were taking the ball every time I turned around. Bryce Young was getting sacked. He was interception. It was just a disaster. Give me the Dolphins to cover this. I agree with you, Mikey. The Panthers are not a good team, and they are going to be in Miami. Miami's going to, they're going to rout them.
They're going to feast. Yeah. Give me the Dolphins too. All right. I know we got like 9 minutes left, so I'm just going to jump to two of the better games this week. We are passing over the Patriots, though, real quick. I'll just throw the stat out there. The last two games, they've been outscored something like 72-3.
Yeah.
They're a disaster.
He's ugly as it's ever been. Yep.
Yeah, sure is. And quite frankly, it's their turn, to be honest. All right, we got the Lions heading to Tampa Bay. Lions are a 3-point favorite. They're only a 3-point favorite heading to Tampa Bay. Mikey V, who do you like?
Tampa's going to be in the creamsicle throwback uniforms.
Oh, wow.
Which I love, but I don't love their chances against Detroit.
Lions.
Again, it could be a weird game where the weather, you get a dome team and then they got to go play in that fucking swamp. And that could be something that you could look at. But Amon-Ra St. Brown should play, should be back. He missed last week. It didn't even matter. Yeah, the Lions just look so good, and they're running the ball with Montgomery, and that offensive line is just asserting themselves against everybody. Now, Tampa got a good defense. They were off last week, right? Tampa didn't play.
Yeah, they had a bye.
So they're coming off a bye. They're going to be fresh as a daisy on defense. May take the Lions a little bit of time. Could be a close game, but if it's 3 or 3.5 tick?
3.
I'll take the Lions with the 3. And, hope worst case scenario, you get a push there, but I'll take the Lions with the points. I can't go against them right now. They're white hot.
Joey D?
I'll take the Lions too. I think I'm not going to overthink it.
Okay. I'm going to take the Lions as well. All right. And then let's bounce over to our Monday night game. We got the Cowboys heading to LA. They're going to LA, playing the Chargers. And after the ass whooping they just had, they're a 2-point favorite to play the Chargers here. Mikey, what do you make of that game?
Well, Chargers are coming off a bye, correct? I don't think they played.
Yep.
2 weeks to prepare. They're at home. This could be a dangerous game for Dallas. Austin Eckler is going to be back. I expect a heavy dose of him if that's the case. The Chargers defense is just, on paper, you would think with Derwin James and Mack and Bosa, they would just be better than they are, and they're usually not, which concerns me a little bit. So I think Dallas has a chance to score. Could be another over game. But I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the Chargers. I just think that Dallas could be on a little bit of a slump here. This could be the start of a slump for Dallas. Now, maybe it's not. Maybe they rally around this. Maybe Dak and Micah Parsons and these guys, they rally around all this and they come back and they thump the Chargers. It could happen, but that little amount of points, give me the Chargers. That's basically a coin flip game. Give me the Chargers at home with the points. No problem. I think Dallas is going to slump.
Joseph?
Dallas looked horrible last week. It was tough to even watch them play. They have got to figure a way to get Tony Pollard running the ball, man, because when the teams stop the run and they make Dak try to beat them, he's just simply not going to beat them. It's as simple as that. Give me the Chargers. I think the Chargers win this game. And I tell you what, all hell will freeze over, and all these Cowboys fans who thought that they were like the creme de la creme coming out of the NFC, like on par with the Eagles and on par with the Niners, they're going to have a reality check. If they lose this game, you're going to see them losing their minds. It's going to be on all the TV shows, everything. I definitely think, though, at the very least, Chargers cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers as well. We've got 3 or 4 minutes left. I want to get you guys out of here, but real quick, just want to get your take on one thing that happened over the weekend. College football, a lot happened. Oklahoma with a bit of an upset, USC getting in a dogfight they never should have been in. But I want to talk to you about that Miami loss. The end of that Miami game. That is one of the very, very worst sights. I'm so glad I'm not a Miami fan. That must have fucking hurt. That must have fucking hurt. Mikey V, what are your thoughts on that?
There's no thoughts at all on it. It's an egregious error by the coach. Quite frankly, grounds to be fired immediately after. I mean, there is no. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you gave a game. Whoa. Wait. You gave away a game. You didn't lose the game. You didn't have an unfortunate situation happen where the quarterback exchange with the center was fucked up on a kneel and he just fumbled it. You decided not to take a knee and hand the football off. That's your fault. The coach single-handedly lost the game, and there was no reason that he had to or should have. And to me, there's no excuse for that at this level. This is not high school. This is not D2. This is not FC. This is not FCS. This is FBS football. This is the creme de la creme. And you gave a game away when you were having a pretty nice season. Miami was having a nice season. They had beaten A&M. They were having a nice season. And
they're undefeated.
To do that in the hunt that you were in, and the possibilities of what could have been are now ruined because of him. And I'm sure that he's going to live with that for a long time, and maybe that's punishment enough. But Man, oh man, I'd have to think about it if I was the athletic director at Miami and be like, yo, what the? I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse.
But not only did he not take a knee, the fact that they didn't drop back in coverage on that last play, that they didn't have everybody back, and you get I mean, the fact the guy he was running freely. There was no safety back. I was like, what are you?
Yeah,
I'm not
even getting into that because it should have never been. It should have never.
I agree, but the fact is, even after that, you just drop everybody back. They need a touchdown to beat you. It's not like there's no reason to play. Like, you just drop everybody back, make sure they don't get a touchdown. The game's over. They didn't have any time left.
Put 4 guys across the end zone, 5 guys across the end zone.
Like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe that kid coughed that ball up. He never should have been put in that situation. Never should. It was unbelievable.
Never.
All right, gentlemen, this was a quick one. Sorry about that, guys. Next week we'll hit you with another longer one again. We'll get through all the games and we'll do Who's a Problem and get to your questions. But that's the Sportsman this week. Oh, Joey D.
Ticket, you didn't give your game of the week.
I sure did. It was the Bears.
Oh, it's the Bears. That's right. I'm sorry. So
yeah,
Bears,
Niners.
then for me you're the Niners, and then I'm the Ravens. Okay, just to make sure that we all lost this last week. We look like a bunch of freaking losers, man.
Yeah, we sure do. We do.
Gotta bounce back. We have got to bounce back with these games of the week, man.
And we will. Gentlemen, another good one. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube and the Instagram, and we will see you next week.